Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup.
LeBron James held the weight of expectations at every level of his basketball career, and the lack of a championship led LeBron to leave his home to create the first modern super team in Miami, and in the process, become a villain to many, especially the fans he left in Cleveland. Welcome to a special edition of the Wild World of Sports, where we relive the successes, failures, and major events in sports history. And this week, we lace up our LeBrons, or Currys, to relive the culmination of LeBron's incredible story of redemption with the city of Cleveland, the 2016 NBA Finals. This series was the pinnacle of this generation's greatest NBA rivalry and the best finals in NBA history. As a young kid in Akron, LeBron turned into the greatest high school prospect in NBA history. Labels like King James and the Chosen One just added to his mystique and hype. Being 38 miles away, he got linked to Cleveland. The Cavs won their division just once in 33 years, and none of their lottery picks worked out long term. Even though they sucked, optimism grew because LeBron was establishing himself as the clear top prospect in the class of 2003. Cleveland finished the season with the best odds to land the first pick, and aside from the late scare from Memphis, everything went according to plan, meaning they would be drafting the quote-unquote hometown kid. Keep that thought in the back of your mind for later. While they would make a surprising pick at number 1 years later,
Anthony Bennett of Toronto, Canada.
Cleveland did make the obvious choice and drafted James with the top pick. The turnaround was nearly instantaneous as they improved their win total by 18 wins the next season and continued to improve, winning their first playoff series in 23 years and making their first ever finals appearance following a legendary performance in the conference finals versus the Detroit Pistons. They were swept by the Spurs, but this showed immense potential if they were only able to get just another star player to play with LeBron. Problem was, Cleveland was cheap and chose to add role players and aging vets like Ben Wallace, Antoine Jamison, and Shaq. They even hit 66 wins one season, but could never get past the Magic and Celtics. Not only were they reluctant to spend, they weren't willing to make any meaningful trades, and none of the top players really wanted to play in Cleveland. Because of this, James felt like he had no choice but to leave Cleveland. His lack of a championship was the main talking point against his credibility as a top player. The darkest day came for Cavs fans as LeBron left Cleveland to join Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade in Miami. This move created the first super team and got LeBron labeled a villain for leaving his hometown team. The thing is, LeBron, like many Akron natives, didn't really view Cleveland as his hometown, so the loyalty wasn't quite there, like so many made it out to be. In response, fans burned jerseys and booed LeBron every chance they got. Dan Gilbert called LeBron a quitter and claimed they would win a title first. Spoiler alert, they didn't. While he was appearing in the finals and winning his first 2 championships, the Cavs were selecting future superstar and PR nightmare Kyrie Irving. In 2013, they picked another nightmare, Anthony Bennett. Bennett would go down in history as arguably the worst draft selection ever. So by the time LeBron's contract in Miami was over, he was having a change of heart. He accomplished his mission of winning a championship and got the college-type experience that he missed out on. Now, Cleveland was the home he missed, a place with so many memories. In an essay he wrote to Sports Illustrated, LeBron announced his return to Cleveland and explained his desire to raise his family there, invest in the community, and bring a championship to a city that had been lacking a champion for a long time. In LeBron's words, "I feel my calling here goes above basketball. I have a responsibility to lead in more ways than one, and take that very seriously. In Northeast Ohio, nothing is given, everything is earned. You work for what you have. I'm ready to accept the challenge. I'm coming home." LeBron's expectation was to join a rebuilding team, but Kyrie Irving was already a star player, and their draft assets were used to trade for all-star Kevin Love and valuable role players like J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert. Unlike the Sixers' never-ending process, the Cavs turned into a championship contender seemingly overnight, making a run to the 2015 NBA Finals. This Finals run was a major crossroads in NBA history as LeBron and the newly rebuilt Cavs faced a sharp-shooting Golden State Warriors team led by league MVP Steph Curry. Steph is the son of former NBA player Del Curry and was ironically born in Akron, Ohio, while Del was playing for the Cavaliers. As the 2009 draft approached, the Knicks and Warriors expressed interest in drafting Curry in the first round. As always, the Knicks came up short and were slotted 1 spot behind Golden State, meaning the Warriors were able to take Steph with the 7th overall pick. This started a run of elite drafting where the Warriors hit on multiple picks including Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Harrison Barnes. Barnes was a key role player and Green anchored the defense. Curry and Thompson changed basketball forever as they became known as the Splash Brothers. a sharpshooting duo that rained down on the opposition more than a 60s Vietnam rainforest. A trade for Iguodala, Max Kellerman's savior of humanity, finalized the core of Golden State's rebuilt roster. LeBron was just 4 wins away from completing his story of redemption. Although he put up multiple 40-point performances, the injuries to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love once again left LeBron in a similar position, and his help was not enough to overcome the hot shooting from Curry and stifling defense from Iguodala. Once again, LeBron came up short by no fault of his own, but he was not in a position to accept moral victories. Once again, it was back to the drawing board, and this time the GM was making moves, and the Cavs replaced contentious coach David Blatt with Tyronn Lue, brought back their core, and added veteran Richard Jefferson. Both teams once again got the job done to set a rematch in the finals, but this time LeBron and the Cavs were facing an advanced version of the Warriors that had the back-to-back MVP, set the league record for wins in a season, and just completed a comeback down 3-1 to Kevin Durant and the OKC Thunder. Their confidence was through the roof, and it continued into the 2016 finals. Sequels are rarely as good as the original, but this sequel to the 2015 NBA Finals turned out to be one for the ages. Through the first 2 games, LeBron and Kyrie put up respectable stat lines, but the bench cost them game 1, and multiple starters didn't show up for game 2. Neither game was close, and the Cavs found themselves in an early hole. Can you guess who led the Warriors to these wins? Was it Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, or Harrison Barnes? Actually, it was none of these options. It was Shaun Livingston and Draymond Green. Although Kevin Love missed Game 3 due to a concussion, LeBron nearly outscored the Warriors' Big 3, leading his team to a 30-point win. The main story of Game 4 should have been Golden State taking a commanding 3-1 series lead and closing in on a repeat, but Draymond Green was closing in on LeBron's La Family Jewels. Both players got tangled up at midcourt, and LeBron stepped over Green to get back into the play, which was taken as a sign of disrespect, so Draymond responded in the only way he knows how. Physical confrontation. Generally speaking, this single game suspension wouldn't typically be a big deal, as Cleveland was simply getting dominated. LeBron came to a crucial point in his career. Do you close this series out and just try again next year? I mean, no team had ever come back down 3-1 to the finals. Instead of folding against adversity, like he had seemingly done in years past, he used those times as a learning experience and instead instilled confidence in his team. Listen to what Iman Shumpert had to say after they played the Warriors without Draymond.
It was like coming up to the park and beating up on some kids, and they big brother just ain't there right now. Bro, we would have never picked out how important Draymond was.
Well, also
until that moment.
LeBron and Kyrie took over Game 5, and LeBron dominated Game 6 to bring us to the 2 best words in sports. No, Charles Barkley, I'm not talking about Krispy Kreme. We're talking about Game 7.
Saw the concern in their face. They was like, man, we do not want to go back to Golden State dealing with these people, because now they was just looking like they was just defeated, and now they look like bloodthirsty for a win. They kind of felt the energy.
The Warriors started strong, being led by Draymond Green, who had 21 points by halftime. Cleveland maintained a tight rotation of only 8, who made effective adjustments at the half to go into the fourth quarter only behind by 1. Both teams tightened up on D, with everybody feeling the weight of every single basket. With just under 2 minutes to go, viewers witnessed one of the greatest plays in finals history. Kyrie Irving drove to the basket but failed to finish over some great defense. Andre Iguodala secured the rebound and took off on the fast break.
Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
As Iguodala was in the process of finishing the break, James skied over teammate J.R. Smith to perfectly time the block at the rim. After a Curry 3 went wide, Cleveland rebounded the ball and called a timeout with 1:09 to go. The objective was simple: just make one play. Kyrie Irving received the inbounds pass and slowly dribbled the ball as time wasted away. Cleveland drew up an incredibly simple but effective play. J.R. Smith set a screen on Irving's defender Klay Thompson, which forced Curry to switch. While Curry was an elite shooter, his defense left a lot to be desired. Irving sized up his new defender, sidestepped, and lofted a 3 from the right wing. With 53 seconds to go, Irving's 3 sunk through the basket to give Cleveland a 3-point lead. Golden State leaned on their 3-point specialist Stephen Curry, and he desperately tried to get an open look and nearly hit a deep 3 with Kevin Love draped all over him. They battled on defense to keep Cleveland's lead to 1 possession. As time slowly ticked away, LeBron looked to close out the game with a drive to the basket. He'll be met by elite defender Draymond Green, who laid the hammer on James as he reached the basket. LeBron hit the floor hard and remained there in pain as he recovered from that fall. Eventually, he got up, went to the line to close the game out, but missed his first free throw. He readjusted his arm sleeve wristband, because of course that's what the problem was, and went through his routine before finally rattling in the second free throw. Golden State leaned on Thompson and Curry to keep their chances alive, but their last desperation attempts came up short. With a stunned Oracle Arena crowd and millions of viewers watching around the world, the clock hit 0. In times past, we have seen the unbearable weight of moments like this hit players like Kobe and MJ, and LeBron was no different. James collapsed to his knees in tears. I can only imagine what was going through his mind. Being that kid in Akron who turned into the savior of Cleveland, only to leave and become the villain hated by his home. Now he returned, and in his second season back, completed his story of redemption. To no one's surprise, James was awarded the Finals MVP, and the Cleveland Cavaliers were finally able to hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy for the first time in franchise history. With such a historical matchup, we have some big-time awards to hand out ourselves. The Kevin Durant U to MVP award goes to LeBron James for his heroics in games 5 through 7. The Karen Participation Award was a tough one to decide, but we're going to go with Draymond Green for punching a man in the groin and getting suspended for what should have been the closing game. The 2016 finals marked the only time a team has recovered from a 3-1 deficit in the finals and completed a long story of redemption for LeBron James in the city of Cleveland. Join us on the next episode of the Wild World of Sports as we dive into the incarceration of Brittany Griner. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you on the next one.